Are you hearing God's voice? What if, right now, in this very moment, God is speaking to you? What if He has been calling your name over and over again, but you've been too distracted to hear Him, too busy, too caught up in the noise of life? Let me ask you, when was the last time you stopped to listen? We live in a world filled with distractions, the endless scroll of social media, the demands of work, the noise of entertainment. And in the midst of it all, God is calling you. But most people don't recognize His voice until it's too late. God is always speaking, but are you listening? God doesn't shout over the noise. He speaks in a whisper, a nudge in your heart, a feeling that something isn't right, a conviction deep inside you that won't go away. In 1 Kings 19:11-12, the Bible says that when God revealed Himself to Elijah, He wasn't in the wind or the earthquake or the fire. He was in a still small voice. And that's how He speaks today. But the question is, have you silenced His voice? You see, most people don't reject God outright. They don't say, I don't want to hear from you. Instead, they drown Him out. They fill their minds with distractions. They keep themselves so busy that they never stop long enough to hear Him calling. But let me warn you, ignoring God is just as dangerous as rejecting Him. What happens when you ignore God? Do you remember the story of Noah? He warned the people for years that a flood was coming, but they didn't listen. They laughed, they mocked, they went on with their lives as if nothing would ever change. Then one day, it started to rain. And when the floods came, when the waters rose, when they finally realized Noah was telling the truth, it was too late. The Bible says in Genesis 7:16 that God shut the door of the ark, not Noah, God. And once God closes the door, there are no second chances. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to wait until it's too late. God is calling you today. But how much longer will He call before He closes the door? What is keeping you from hearing God? For some of you, it's the noise of the world. You're so consumed with entertainment, success, money, and temporary pleasures that you have no time for God. For others, it's sin. The more you indulge in sin, the harder your heart becomes. Sin deafens you to the voice of God. The Bible says in Hebrews 3:15, today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts. Is your heart hard? Are you making excuses, saying, I'll listen to God later. I'll turn to Him when I'm older. I'm not ready yet. What if later never comes? God's voice is a warning. Don't ignore it. When God speaks, it's not just to bless you. It's not just to give you comfort. Sometimes He's warning you. When you feel that conviction in your heart, when you sense that something isn't right, when you keep hearing the same message over and over again, that's God trying to get your attention. But so many people ignore Him. They silence the conviction. They push away the feeling. And they continue living as if they have all the time in the world. But time is running out. The Bible warns us in Matthew 24:37, -39. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. People were too busy living life to listen to God's warning, and they perished. History is repeating itself. Today, people are distracted. They are too caught up in the temporary things of this world. But judgment is coming. And one day, the door will close. Are you ready to listen? Maybe you've ignored God for years. Maybe you've silenced His voice so much that you don't even know how to hear Him anymore. But let me tell you this, it's not too late.